After the Venezuelan dictator Nicolás Maduro accused Donald Trump of wanting to steal Venezuela's oil, the Southern Command responded immediately. American destroyers were positioned in strategic areas of the Caribbean Sea, ready to fire ballistic missiles at specific targets of the Chavista regime. The movement was not symbolic. It was a clear message that a surgical strike could happen at any moment. The bunker used by Maduro, located in Terminal 4 of Caracas International Airport, is now under permanent surveillance by military satellites. The presidential helicopter, which transports Maduro during his daily movements, was also identified by the Southern Command's military intelligence, which has now assigned a destroyer specifically to monitor the aircraft. Both the bunker and the presidential helicopter have become potential targets for a surgical strike. The accuracy of the American systems allows any movement to be tracked second by second, and a missile can be launched at any moment. Welcome to Life in the Barracks. The deployment of more troops, advanced weapons, and aircraft in the Caribbean Sea. It raised pressure on the Chavista regime. The United States government toughened its stance and boosted its military presence in the region. In response, Maduro called civilians for military exercises in the coastal areas. Elderly women, untrained young people, and ordinary residents were placed on the front lines as human shields. A desperate act exposing the regime's moral collapse. Domestic pressure in the United States has risen as Democratic congressmen demand results. The Caribbean operation consumes financial and human resources, and the White House needs to show that this is not just a show of force. That's why a more forceful action, whether by remote attack or ground infiltration, could happen at any moment. A sign that Maduro's time is running out.
Hi, Cyber Team, hi.
Hi, Cyber Team, hi. Good afternoon.
The destroyers positioned in the Caribbean Sea are multifunctional warships. Equipped with long-range radars, Tomahawk missiles, anti-aircraft systems, and Aegis combat system technology, these ships track and intercept simultaneous threats. Operating as floating command centers, the ships of the North American Navy are capable of coordinating attacks and protecting Allied forces in real time, serving as a key element in the strategy to suffocate the Chavista regime. With speeds exceeding 30 knots and the autonomy for extended missions, the destroyers ensure military superiority in the region. Their presence enables naval blockades, tactical landings, and full air coverage, being fundamental for pressuring strategic targets and maintaining the active siege. Venezuela is surrounded by a typical wartime force. Maduro, fearing an invasion or airstrike, appealed to the United Nations. The Chavista dictator urged the United Nations to act against United States actions in the Caribbean, but the United Nations hasn't responded. Fulfilling Maduro's request would ignore his government's abuses and legitimize a regime that violates human rights daily. The United States force mobilized in the siege of Venezuela matches that used in the 2003 Iraq invasion. Frigates, destroyers, helicopter carriers, and a nuclear submarine are positioned in the Caribbean. F-35 fighter jets dominate the skies, while UNZI Viper and V-22 Osprey helicopters ensure tactical mobility. Added to this military power, the P-8 Poseidon aircraft conducts constant patrols, increasing surveillance over Venezuelan territory. Thousands of Navy and Marine Corps personnel are in constant movement. The United States military base in Puerto Rico serves as a land support point. The military structure coordinated by the Southern Command, called Operation Final Circle, turns into a war maneuver. The siege of Venezuela is not symbolic. It is real, strategic, and progressive. The arrival of the Marine Raiders in the Caribbean region confirms that a landing and surgical infiltration operation may be underway. Recognized as the elite of the Marine Corps Special Forces, the Raiders are deployed exclusively for missions of high strategic value, whether it's capturing priority targets, extraction in hostile territory, or neutralizing threats, given the vast repertoire of skills this unit possesses. The presence of the Marine Raiders indicates that the siege has entered a decisive phase. Silent, swift actions can happen anytime. With air and naval support already established, Venezuela has become a constant observation field. Any movement outside the norm can trigger an immediate response. A long-range attack against strategic targets of the Chavista regime, such as the bunker at Terminal 4 or the presidential helicopter, can be executed with surgical precision and without the need to invade Venezuelan territory. Armed drones, like the MQ-9 Reaper, have already been used to shoot down vessels leaving Venezuela with drugs. These drones provide constant surveillance and remote Hellfire missile attacks. Another option would be the use of Tomahawk missiles, launched from Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. With a range of up to 1,600 kilometers, these missiles can hit targets on Venezuelan soil without the ships having to approach the coast. Guided by satellite, the Tomahawk missiles are programmed to destroy specific structures with high precision, leaving no time for the target to react. Despite their offensive power, the United States avoids direct attacks on Venezuela. The intention is to contain criticism from the international community and minimize the risk of collateral damage. Civilians in densely populated urban areas could be affected. That's why the current strategy prioritizes military pressure and tactical isolation. However, a direct action by the Marine raiders on Venezuelan soil remains a viable alternative. This unit is trained for rapid infiltrations, silent neutralizations, and extractions in hostile environments. Maduro tries to appear in control. Fiery speeches, broadcasts on state television, and the mobilization of militiamen are all part of the show. But behind the cameras, the fear is evident.
What is coming? They are not expecting Miraflores here. Don't be late to arrive, coward. Come for me, coward.
The White House has already made it clear that the economic and human costs of this operation will not be in vain. The goal is, of course, to destabilize the Chavista regime and pave the way for new leadership. Whether by surrender, escape, or capture, the end of Maduro seems inevitable. Operation Final Circle is underway, and the coming days could be crucial. Venezuela is at the center of a military operation that could redefine the geopolitical map of Latin America. Here at Life in the Barracks, you stay up to date with everything happening in the military world. Leave your like, subscribe, and watch one of the videos appearing on your screen. Combatants, see you next time.